Cypress Financial Group presents the Retirement Roundtable podcast with John Scallan. Get more at cypressfinancial.net. Now, let's get to the show.
My name is Mark Owens. John, I want to jump right into it because we got a lot of great content to get you this weekend, a lot of great information. And when you turn 73, now not so much you, John, but when an adult turns 73, Uncle Sam requires you to start taking RMDs. These come from your traditional 401ks and IRAs. Now, many retirees deal with their RMDs in an end-of-year lump sum. But, John, is that the most strategic way to take them, or are equal installments throughout the year a little bit better?
Good morning to you, my friend. Let me just talk about your comment about me turning 73.
Sorry.
Time is going so quickly. I think it's about 2 blinks of my eyes away. But Mark, back to your question directly. You know, Mark, I see this all the time, more often than you would think. You know, what happens is people get that notice and they think, okay, I'll deal with this in December, take the whole thing out in one lump sum. Now, Mark, let's be clear here. From a tax perspective, it really doesn't matter whether you take it all in December or if you spread it out monthly. It's all going on your tax return for that year. The IRS doesn't care when you take it as long as it's paid out, by the end of the year. Now, here's where timing, where you want to think about being a little more strategic. First thing, cash flow management. I mean, if you're taking $30,000 a year, but you don't actually need it to live on, taking it all in December means you've got this big chunk sitting in your checking account. Then what? Well, we've had some clients, here's the trap. They either spend it because it's there or they put it into a savings account and reinvest it. And if you're going to reinvest it anyway, wouldn't you rather have that money working for you throughout the year? Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it. You take $2,500 a month starting in January. Now that money can be reinvested and potentially growing for 11, 10, 9 months instead of it just sitting idly in your IRA. Second, if you need it for living expenses, monthly distributions make way more sense. I mean, it's like getting a paycheck, right? Steady, predictable income that you can budget around rather than trying to manage one big lump sum once a year. And here's the third thing. It keeps you engaged with your finances. When you're taking distributions monthly, you're logging in regularly, you're seeing what's happening. The bottom line is you are paying attention, you're learning new things, and you are engaged in your finances. I can't tell you how many people take that December lump sum and then realize, oh no, my account's down 20%. And I haven't looked at it in, all year. Now they're panicking.
So as we're talking about RMDs, John Scallan, here on the Retirement Roundtable, it's not about taxes. It's about cash flow, but most importantly, staying engaged.
Yeah, Mark, the discipline of staying engaged with your finances. I mean, same tax bill either way, but the way you structure it, it can make your life easier and potentially help your money work harder throughout the year. Mark, here's another piece. If you've got multiple IRAs, you can take your total RMD from just one of those accounts. So you've got some flexibility there. Maybe one account is down, another's up. You take it from the one that makes the most sense.
So, John, if somebody's been taking those lump sum RMDs and they want to make a change, how do they do that? And is it too late for this year?
Mark, simple. Call your custodian, Fidelity, Schwab, wherever your IRA is. Tell them that you want to set up monthly or quarterly automatic distributions from your RMD. They'll calculate the amount. They'll send it automatically. You don't even have to think about it. And then you just need to decide, are you going to spend this money or does it make more sense to reinvest it? If you are in fact reinvesting, if you're spending it, does monthly income make more sense for your budget than one annual payment? Because look, the RMD is required. The IRS is getting their money either way, but how you structure it to fit into your life, that's where you've got control.
But what about this year?
I mean, listen, if you're concerned about 2025, there are a few things that you can do. But again, the key here is to get engaged. You've got plenty time to prepare for 2026. If you give us a call here at Cypress Financial, 504-732-1001. We're here to help. We can get you engaged, and let's start getting a strategy and a real plan so that you can get the most out of your required minimum distribution.
Again, that number is 504-732-1001. We have a representative standing by right now. But, John, multiple ways to get in touch with you and the team at Cypress Financial.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, certainly we've had many clients get introduced to our company through cypressfinancial.net. You can make an appointment there. You can really learn a little bit more about us. And listen, for many of you listeners out there who like our content, who feel like maybe at some point in the future you may be willing to reach out, but for whatever reason you're just not ready to talk to someone, I just want to encourage you. You can find us on Facebook. Again, Cypress Financial. You can subscribe to our page. There is a ton of content that, goes into much more detail than we ever have time for on this particular radio show. You'll get to kind of put a face with the voice. You'll get to look at our team. Again, find us on Facebook. And I think just that alone can really help you get a ton of information to help you planning for your retirement.
John, let's talk a little income, because income is the outcome that matters the most in retirement. There was a recent Allianz study that found nearly half of retirees are anxious about spending their income, spending their savings. I want you to hear this clip from financial planner Kevin Lum. He says one way to overcome that is to look at an income annuity.
Annuitized income won't maximize wealth, but it can maximize spending confidence. The average person with an annuity spends twice as much money as someone with a similar portfolio invested in the market. Now, the portfolio owner ends up richer, but the annuity owner feels more secure, even if they end up with less money.
John, do you agree? Have you seen this with some of the families you've served and some of the people that have come to see you?
Absolutely. And here's the thing. I mean, I get it. I really do. Our clients have worked 30, 35, even 40 years. They have saved every penny. They've had discipline. They have sacrifice. And now they've got, let's say, $800,000 sitting in their retirement account. Should be set, right? Well, we find often that our clients are really terrified to spend it, because what if it runs out? What if the market crashes and they lose 30 or 40%? What if they live to be 95 years old? So you know what they do? They live like they're broke, very conservatively. They've got this nest egg, but they're, eating sandwiches every single day. They were skipping some travel or some birthdays because they're just terrified to touch this money. From my perspective, that's really no way to live in retirement. You didn't save all this money just to be stressed out and worried all the time. And Mark, this gets to something so fundamental about retirement today. See, your dad probably had a pension. He retired, he got a check every month for the rest of his life. But pensions, there are a few still around, but for the most part, they're gone. For most people anyway, only about 15% of private sector workers still have a traditional pension. So what do you do instead? You've got this significant sum of money, and you've spent your whole life living paycheck to paycheck, not because you were irresponsible, but because that's just how life works. Paycheck comes in, bills go out, and you budget around it. Now, suddenly, there's no paycheck. There's just this accumulation of assets, and you're supposed to figure out how to make it last for 30 years. Nobody taught you that. Picking at a pile of money is not a plan.
It sounds, when you visualize it, it sounds great, but you're right, John, it's not a plan. So is that where an annuity could help out?
Yeah, Mark, an annuity basically functions like a personal pension plan. You give the insurance carrier X amount of dollars, and in return, they send you a check every month for the rest of your life, guaranteed. Many of our clients early on in the financial planning process, we ask a couple of, pretty basic questions. What is your spend every month? What do you have to keep the lights on? What we'll do from there, we'll combine their Social Security with a guaranteed lifetime income. From there, you know that every month, no matter what the stock market does, your expenses are covered. Mark, what I have seen personally, that changes everything for people. Now, when they look at the rest of their portfolio, the money still is in the market. You can enjoy it, but because your essential expenses are covered, that market money, that's for extras. That's for travel, helping the grandkids, doing the things that you've always wanted to do. I mean, Mark, it's basically taking time to live and enjoy your retirement. Listen, research shows people with annuitized income spend twice as much money in retirement, not because they're being irresponsible, but because they actually enjoy the money that they have saved.
Okay, we're talking about annuities here on the Retirement Roundtable, 504-732-1001. And John, you just mentioned it, guaranteed income for retirement. Unfortunately, John, annuities do get a bad reputation. What do you say to folks who've heard negative things about the potentials for an annuity?
Well, Mark, a couple of comments. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Annuities got a black eye years ago, and quite frankly, they deserved it. The old story was like this: grandma buys an annuity, gets a guaranteed income for life. And that's great. But when she died, the kids were saying, where's the money? There's nothing left. The insurance company keeps it. That was the deal. That was the structure of these old annuity contracts. And listen, people rightfully said, that's terrible. I'm not going to do that. Here's what most people don't realize, Mark. That story is gone, and it's no longer relevant in today's world. Modern annuities, your grandparents get that same guaranteed income for life. But now, when she passes, most of these contracts allow the family or the beneficiary to get whatever is left. Could be $50,000, could be $200,000. The money just doesn't automatically disappear. So we've got the good. Guaranteed income that you can't live. The bad, yes, there are fees and you are giving up some liquidity. That is an issue if and only if you buy the wrong annuity from the wrong person. It could be a problem. That's why when we look at annuities for someone, I show them everything. The points of the annuities, the potential loss of liquidity, because annuities are not right for everyone, but for the right person in the right situation, these contracts solve a huge problem with income, but not only income, Mark. The right annuities have long-term care riders, nursing home riders, free withdrawal privileges. Again, these are not your grandparents' annuities. They have evolved, and they're absolutely incredible products in the right situation.
John, I like how you put that. The good, guaranteed income. The bad, yeah, there are fees. And the ugly, you buy the wrong annuity from the wrong person, it can be a disaster. 504-732-1001 conversation about annuities as guaranteed income to and through retirement. So, John, it's not about the product itself. It's about whether it fits the person's needs. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly on point, Mark. And I'll tell you who it makes sense for. If you're lying awake at 2 a.m. worried about running out of money, even though you've got a substantial amount, you need to at least look at this. I mean, this annuity solution, we would never say, look, take all of your money and put it into annuity. Remember, what we are trying to do is to give you guaranteed income for you as long as you live. Look, if you don't have a pension and you're trying to figure out how to replace that paycheck, you need to look at this. But if you're comfortable with market risk, if you've got other guaranteed income sources, then maybe you don't need an annuity, and that's totally fine. The point is, some people need guaranteed income just to sleep at night. Others don't. We'll help you figure out what makes the most sense for you and your retirement journey.
Somebody's hearing our conversation this weekend about an annuity and they like what they hear. John, what's the first step? They want to explore whether an annuity makes sense for their financial future.
Reach out to us, whether it's by phone, whether it's online. Let's get together for that initial meeting. Again, we'll help analyze your complete picture. How much guaranteed income do you already have? Social Security, pension, whatever it may be. How much do your essential expenses run every month, and what is the gap? Then we run the numbers. Would putting, say, $200,000 into an annuity give you enough guaranteed income that would cover the gap? And if so, what does that do for your confidence about spending or keeping the rest of your money? What we'll show you is multiple options, different types of annuities, different payout structures, different death benefit riders. Do you need long-term care or nursing home or activities of daily living to be worked into this process? We'll show you what happens with one and what happens without one. And then you decide. No pressure, no sales pitch, just solid, real information that will help you understand your options. Mark, here's what I learned after years of doing this. Confidence, you can calculate. You can only have confidence if you have the data. The numbers don't lie. And once people see the math, that's when their stress level really comes down.
John, about how much time should we plan out for that initial conversation?
You know, Mark, we always plan for no more than 1 hour for this first meeting. Again, we want to give you an opportunity to kick the tires on us. We want to get to know you. Mark, I would say the average time we spend together is maybe 45 minutes, but we always budget just about an hour. Again, we kind of want you to understand how we work. We want to understand from you, what does your retirement look like? What is keeping you up at night? What is your biggest concern? Are you ready now? When are you going to take Social Security? And then we just build on those foundational principles and, hopefully come to an agreement for a second meeting. But remember, first meeting, complimentary, leave your checkbook in the car. Let's just have a conversation about you and what this next incredible chapter of your life looks like.
And I can tell you firsthand, John just said about 45 minutes. But if that conversation steers off into LSU and college football, maybe a little NFL and Saints conversation, or maybe what's biting that weekend in the Gulf, then the conversation may be a little bit more than 45. I'm just throwing it out there, John.
Well, Mark, I don't know how long we can talk about, Saints and LSU football, but listen, whatever our clients want to talk about, that's what we're going to do. Love to meet you, love to get together, and we're real easy to find.
So, John, really good information this weekend, talking about RMDs, talking about annuities, talking about building income in retirement. What are your final thoughts that you want to leave?
Mark, I think the thread, if I can use that word, through all of this today is the same. Retirement is not something where you wing it. It's not something that you hope everything is going to work out. You've spent 30, 40 years working, providing for your family, building a nest egg. You have sacrificed, you have saved, you have done the hard work. But here's what I see more often than not. People get to retirement and they don't have a plan for the distribution phase. Remember, if you are still working, you're in the accumulation phase, right? Working, saving, budgeting. When you stop working, now you are in the distribution phase. How do I make this money last? I mean, you've spent your whole life accumulating, saving and saving, and then suddenly there's no paycheck. There is an accumulated pile of money, and now you're supposed to make this last for 30 years. This is a completely different skill. Turning that money into income you can't outlive, managing taxes, planning for health care, dealing with inflation, dealing with the ebbs and flow of the market. And Mark, most people really haven't had experience in doing that, not because they're not smart or brilliant, but because nobody taught them, because this isn't what they do for a living. What we do is different. We build a plan that you can actually understand, follow, and participate in. We want your feedback. We want your involvement. Year by year, we show you where your income comes from in year 1, year 5, year 10, year 20. We show you what happens in good markets and bad markets because these markets fluctuate. Picking at a pile of money, not knowing what the results are going to be from winging it is not a plan. Hoping it lasts is not a plan. Now, Mark, having a strategy, having a financial advisor that you can work with and trust, that is a plan.
Investment advisory services offered through Cypress Financial Group, a registered investment advisor firm. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance products, including annuities offered through Cypress Financial Group, John Scallan, Louisiana Insurance License Number 1064997. The firms are separate entities. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company and are not offered by Cypress Financial Group. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.